Winning at slots isn't hard. I've proven that. Many of you have proved that much, and which, if you listen to my podcast, you can hear for yourself. So, what's the problem? Where's the sticking point? It's the gaming industry. They've set you off in the wrong direction on your slots journey, like stampeding buffalo off a cliff to then eat like kings. But you're starting to figure it out. Well done. Keep working on it. But how? Well, let's talk it over. And of course, I'll be taking your questions because this is a live stream. I'm only saying that because, of course, the people who are live here now know it's a live stream, but you might be watching this after the fact. Hello to you watching this recording. Thank you for being here, and be sure to subscribe for notifications so you can have your questions answered the next time I do one of these. But either way, stick around and I'm sure it will be of value to you, even if you're watching this after the fact. But those of you who are here live, thank you so much. If you have a question, use #question. That's the # followed by question. That's so I can be sure to spot your question to me instead of the many, many, many comments that everybody in this community video are making in the live chat to each other. After all, this is also a place where friends check out about how their slots play has been going lately. So let me give you the banner. So that's going to be flashing across the bottom of the screen for you. And if you can see it on your small screen if you're using a phone, which according to the data that I have, and I'm all about database decision making, is about half of you. And so those people in the live chat are mentioning that Pamela, Slot Savvy PK, was a live stream which I spent a few minutes on. She had planned for me to be on for 15 minutes, and I had planned on being on it for twice that. And then she revealed that her plan was actually to get me to stay longer. And part of the conversation was about that. So I was about an hour ago, I was on our live stream for half an hour. I hope that my voice will hold out for 2 hours here. And we will see, because I set up a 2-hour live stream with you because I couldn't make it longer. Right. So that's what was going on. In any case, casinos are businesses designed to take your money, but give back about 90% of it. They then work hard to convince you, without telling you, to get you to also gamble that 90% to then make it 81%. Then just go right on ahead and spend that 81% of your original bankroll to have 73%. This happens again and again. 73% becomes 66%, which becomes 59%, then 53%, 48, 43, 39, 35, 31, and so on. Every time you cycle your remaining bankroll, you spend 10% of it on average for the worst odds in the country, which I found to be Indiana, 90%. It would be a little better than that at like Nevada, where the average is 93 or 92.7, depending on each month. And that's kind of the range that we're seeing in the United States. But I took 90%. So starting with a $100 bankroll, after 10 cycles of spending 10% of it each time, you've spent $717, but have $31.38 left over. Now, this is the average result over the long term. It doesn't actually happen. It's just math, statistics. Some slots enthusiasts leave with $90 after spending $100 and count themselves lucky. Phew, just managed to get out. Others win big immediately. Yet other slots enthusiasts spend their entire $100 bankroll without winning anything. And so it goes. Again, this is simple statistics, math, and not the real world. In the real world, an individual couldn't bet often enough to get this result consistently. If you made a bet every 2 seconds for 24 hours without pause, That's 43,200 bets. And if you're making 60-cent bets, that's $26,000 spent. Now, this is the statistics. It's not about how much you would have won from that $26,000 spent. So just want to mention, you have to have long-term data, a lot of it, to have the average result. And 43,000 bets is not that much. So yes, that many bets should result in an average result. But, the reason why it doesn't isn't statistics. It doesn't because such a result only applies to random data, and the results of playing a slot machine isn't random. Now, them's fighting words to a lot of slots enthusiasts who have been misdirected by the gaming industry to point them with obstacles and challenges that end up pointing these folks to the cliff that I was mentioning about before. So stampeding them towards the cliff. So let me just not say that. Let me just show you. Okay, I'll show you. So the first thing, got a couple of things to show you. Where's it at? There it is. Okay, so let me share. Dun, dun, dun. Come on. Share screen. Okay. This is Illinois. These are not the riverboat casinos. These are the video gaming terminals, of which there are up to 5 or 10 per bar and tavern that has applied. And there's thousands of them that have applied for a gaming license, and they must have a liquor license. I am so sorry. Let me thank you, Chuck, for your donation, which I will show. Thank you for your donation. He says a delayed Mother's Day celebration will cause me to be offline, but I will catch the replay. So, hey, Chuck, and no problem. Thank you for the donation. It's very much appreciated, as you know. Thank you. And I wanted to mention to you directly. I heard from Chip Barron. He has a new email address, it's been like a year and a half since we heard from him. So I was very worried there for a while. Okay, and I also have Shawana. Thank you, Shawana, for your $20 donation, and it's very much appreciated. Again, thank you so much, sincerely. So I'm showing now the return statistics from when they were started, 2012, 10 years by month to month for 10 years, except for 2 spots, one of which was the break where all the bars and taverns in Illinois were closed due to the pandemic. And so this is what happened. This is the return statistics. Now, when they first opened, one of the points I want to make that back in September-ish, in 2012, there were actually only like 300 machines open for the last couple of days of that month. And so that's part of the reason why that was so low. But they started basically high, and they've been building, installed and had more people, more bars and taverns having these machines. And so this is the pattern. These machines are not controlled by the people who own them, not controlled by the bars and taverns. They are remotely controlled by the Illinois lottery. Now, there's a lot of states that have a connection to their state lottery, and they say, it's controlled by them. But this is absolute control, 100% control, no discussion with these bars and taverns. This is what the machines are set to. That number. And at first they were trying to, not the first month, but shortly after that, they were higher than they've ever been, almost 92.4%. And just to get people to have a successful time at it, the gaming industry was set up to try to convince people to go play because, well, they won and they would come back. And then the first thing they did was drop it. to 91.9%, which is actually a lot. It's a amount that you can feel. And then that was objected to by lots of protests. Bars and taverns are like, what are you doing? They're not getting played. And so the took that feedback and they raised it back up. And then they sort of, over years, so they had a bad experience for 3 years here when I show this difference. And one of the things I didn't do was jump into my numbers here and my setup here and change my mouse size to something much larger. So yes, this is a 3-year period, and then it was sort of peaked here for about a year to this peak rather than this peak, which was also another year, and then they've been dropping. There was something that happened between these two events, but now we are currently down around 91.65% in Illinois. And what I also wanted to mention was Colorado. Now this, actually I wanted to do this one. This is Colorado. This is the sum total from 2019 to 2021. Just to show you what it's normally like. I have 2019 because it was before the pandemic. And Cripple Creek set everything high, and Blackhawk and Central City set everything low. And that's kind of what you saw, except for a few abrupt changes after the pandemic. But if you look at just Blackhawk, this is not the sum total. This is actually by denomination. Look across this bottom. That's penny machines, right? There was 1 month and 2 years where it was better to play what's called high, and the rest of the time it was just better to play, play anything but penny machines, except for that 1 month, and that's typical. So this, we see this in a lot of the six states that offer return statistics by slot machine denomination. So this is not random behavior. This is there one more? I think there's one more. Yeah, Delaware. This is from 1995 to 2003, and this is Bally's Dover started very low. And at the same time that Delaware Park started very low, because these are all business reasons, but then 4 months later, Harrington opened late after the others had been open 3-4 months. So they started high to try to pull people from the other casinos which had established themselves 4 months before. So this is what I wanted to tell you about, to show you this data is not it does not look random. None of this data looks random, and it's not random. It's a plan. That's what it is. So let me thank Marina for your donation. Very much appreciated. Sincerely, thank you. And they say thank you, Professor Slots. You're welcome. You're welcome. So that's just a few examples of return statistics, and I'm doing them more. I've had people come to me and see some of my latest videos on this and on return statistics and say, I just love looking at your graphs. It's just amazing what you can learn from them. And then there's thousands of others who say graphs, ew. So I understand it's not the most palatable thing to look at data, and sometimes you just have to stare at it for a while, and that can be boring for a lot of people. But it's also a barrier to doing well at slots, to miss an advantage like that. When you look at Colorado's and Blackhawk, and look at Blackhawk returns by slot machine denomination, and you see where penny slots are, and then you see that's what it is in the other states in Colorado, and that's what it is in every state that offers return statistics by slot machine denomination. You can make a decision about your state, even if your state doesn't have penny machines. that that's what the odds are. And, how much money would that save you just for that? So there's a barrier to looking at a graph, to thinking about statistics. But we'll talk about a little bit more about that. So each state, casino, slot machine manufacturer, and more have their plans. The only group that isn't on this list, the only group that most often doesn't have a plan, except for a very few of them, like you listening to this, are slots enthusiasts. You have a plan because you're here or watching the recording later. There are so many others who don't have a plan. And this community event tells me I can, you might be the first time you've been to one of my live streams. Doesn't matter. You have a plan. And as I say, I don't care what your plan is. I care that you have a plan. And because there's a lot of ways to go forward and use your skills to do that. So you have a plan, or are starting to have one, or thinking about starting one. And I'm just so worried about the many, many, many other slots enthusiasts who are being stampeded towards the cliff as though they're buffaloes about to get whacked. So because of this real data, that some of which has covered more than 25 years, that's me pointing out that they have a plan. And as we often discuss, what's your plan? So please use hashtag question. It's scrolling across the bottom of the screen to go ahead and ask your questions about making your plan or refining certain aspects of your plan. That's what you're doing by asking these questions, right? And that's why I offer 3 live streams a week, 2 hours each, or at least until the questions. I think the last one was an hour and 50 minutes, because I didn't see any questions at the last 10 minutes. And then one come in just as I hit the off button. And so I guess I maybe wait a few more seconds. But, I'll give those questions that you want to ask now a few more minutes. So I'm not worried about you. You're on the right slots journey for you, but you're not on the right slots journey for those trying to stampede you off a cliff and take your hard-won bankroll. But it's not so simple deciding to have a plan that benefits you. Why? Because gaming industries have worked so hard for decades to get you to fall off a cliff. So let's discuss some of the challenges and obstacles they put in your path to get you to that cliff. First, the gaming industry tells you that playing slots is random. Why? Because if it were random, then nothing you do matters. That, it's like being outside and you're hit by lightning. And that's random under certain circumstances. Like if there's not a cloud in the sky, then it's not random. If it's a cloud cover, then maybe. If it's forecast for a thunderstorm, maybe. These details kind of remove the point of how random. When you go to a casino, you're looking for conditions. When you get struck by lightning, there are conditions that are existing to make lightning possible. And so you're going to consider these weather in your casino that has to do with winning more. I'm like, I'll push this analogy of lightning strikes, right? You climbed a mountain, you're on a peak during a thunderstorm, or you're out in farmland, but you're standing underneath the tallest tree in miles, where you are adjusting. You're taking advantage of the system because the system isn't random. So, when you start thinking, when the casino wants you to think, when the gaming industry, all the different stakeholders, want you to think that it's random, well, then nothing else matters. Don't even think about it. Don't even try to think about it, they say, because, we don't want you to think about it. That's wonderful for casinos and all their vendors because they make more money. If you if you don't think your actions matter. So, for example, let's say they say table games have better odds than slot machines. What? Sorry, but no. Again, here's proof from the latest return statistics of Nevada, April 19th. If you go to, let's see, I'll show you that. So if you go to here, share. Right. So this is my Nevada a slot machine casino gambling. This is my website. That's my course. On the side, you can go to any page and find this. I'm going to scroll down from this page and I'll point, and it's a standard setup where I go through Facebook groups and there's a section called Theoretical Payouts and Return Statistics in Nevada. And you go to gaming revenue information right there, and you will find this. And I'm sorry, don't mean to have all those things up here. Stop. There. Okay. And March 2022 has the latest PDF. Let me share that with you. Where are you at? And I don't want to show New Jersey. I'll show that next. Okay. So if I take a look at these statistics, and I'm trying to do this in a way that is fun and easy, but I still have to push buttons and move mouses. And so I am looking at here all the different there. Can you see that? Is that that's a typo under win percent this month? Just to remind you that these people are human. So if you look here, the top part is table games. Look at those high numbers. This is the win percent of the casino. It's what the casino wins. And so if you take that and subtract it from 100, that would be how much you win, the win percent that you would have, player win percent. And that's table games, but this is slot machines by denomination for the entire state of Nevada, with, again, penny slots, no surprise there, being the highest return for casinos, and everything else being single digits. But it is not single digits for table games, except for mini Baccarat. So for some reason, that always does really well. It is still worse than anything except penny slots, but it's still the best of table games. There's also a sports pool that's very low, but that's sports betting. And so, that's just not true that table games have better odds. I had an interview of Casino Fun 101 on my podcast, and he said that, and I'm like, what are you talking about? It's not true. It's never been true. And if you follow that discussion, he understood where he made a logical error. So I'll also point out to New Jersey, there's a similar layout where there are theoretical returns. You can go to monthly gross gaming reports, and then you can actually, I will do that. Oh, it's not that one. It's the other one. It will automatically forward, but it's taking too long. So, okay. So this is the month gross revenue reports. The most recent available is March. And when I open that up in the other window, so I can do a little better here, that's New Jersey. They don't separate out by slot machine denomination, but this is Premier, formerly known as Bally's, still has the sign up that says Bally's. And the slot machines have a return of 9.3%. That's how much the casino makes again. And table and other games are at 22.5%, double digits instead of single digits. And you can check Borgata, 9% versus 17.8%. What is this? Caesars, Atlantic City, 9.3, 19.5 on table games. So yeah, it's all like that, double digits versus single digits. Hard Rock. So this is just, database decision making. It's an obstacle to people doing well. If you like table games, you like table games, but know the facts, right? If you're playing optimal play on a poker game and making the best decisions possible, maybe you should, check to see if you're playing the right game. If maybe you should, see what mini Baccarat is like, based on the results from Las Vegas. Okay, so I have another donation, again, very much appreciated, for $19.99 from Teresa. Thank you. And let me put that away. So if you have a question, use #question. That's so I can be sure to spot your question to me instead of comments in the live chat to each other. So let's take a look at some of your questions. I like to talk for like 25 minutes about a particular topic to tell you more about that topic, and then different one for every live stream. And I've been doing live streams for 2.5 years, so it's become a little easier to like put together a topic and talk about it. This is one of those. Now I'll take your questions for the next hour and 35 minutes. So let's start going through them. Ask away. Slots related, of course. What's my favorite food? Or is it true you're a slot whisperer? I whisper to my cats, pss, 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 and it works really well. Wait. No, there is a pillow right there, and it's a YouTube pillow, and at the very bottom it says subscribe, but my cat loves to sleep in front of it. So I'm just like, if you want to subscribe, that would be great. I tried to figure out how to put it on a pillow, and my cat like nix that. Likes are better though. That helps me more. Subscribe is a vanity metric. It doesn't matter. It stopped mattering like 3-4 years ago on YouTube. But likes are important. And they do matter. So thank you. John Doe, #question. It does matter. There's a lot of comments here. Okay. Right. So, yes, Magpie, I had noticed that. I am a physicist. That's what I've been trained. I'm not just a physicist. You can see over there some of my college degrees, top rows, graduate degrees, and there's 2 of those degrees that are physics, and others are engineering. One's math, and I have a business degree for engineers. So I love physics, and anybody in physics has got a close relationship to astronomy. Anyway, Eastern time, 9:36 tomorrow. No, is it? Yeah, tomorrow, May 15th, 9:26 p.m. Eastern time is a full lunar eclipse. So it doesn't block out the lunar glow. It makes it red. And why is it making it red? Because the sun is behind the Earth. So the moon is in the shadow, but the shadow is actually, it's getting light, but it's from the how sunsets are red? Well, it's all around the Earth is a red sunset. When the sun is over here, the Earth is here, and the moon is there. So it's getting a red glow. Just optics. And that is called a blood moon because it's lit up red. Don't get me started on Poisson spots. Google it if you can spell Poisson. Okay. Thank you for the opportunity, Magpie 11, for me to talk about physics. I don't often get a chance to do that, but I'd love it so, almost as much as slots. Hashtag question from Decal goes along with one of theories. One of the cards I get in the mail saying free play says no free play between 12 a.m. and 4 a.m. daily for this promotion, right? So what Decal's talking about, he or she is knowledgeable of my strategies, and there's strategies the day after holidays, but it's a similar strategy for the day after large promotional events. Holidays can be national, but promotional events can be specific to your casino. And so kind of a difference there, but you do the same thing. You go back to the casino sometime between 4 a.m. and 6 a.m. And it can be earlier, but not by much, and just play for 10 minutes. And, there is an accounting practice where they adjust for the previous day's receipts by giving out jackpots if they need to. And if that casino chooses to use this method, as I've tried to tell people, my strategies are not strategies. They are counter strategies. And the casino has to have their portion. They have to do their part. So you can check all of my strategies and see which ones work at your casino, if any. It's not by making you lucky or something. Somebody was saying you're real. And I have a free 15-minute chat, one per person, and that's basically just for me not to to prove that I'm not a robot. And let's see. Hey, Steve, good to see you. I'm just looking for hashtag questions at this point. It's Jay. He did use hashtag question in the follow-up comment. So Judge ruling, I'll allow it. Okay. Could you possibly attribute the decline in the growth of internet and online games of chance becoming more available? Could you possibly attribute the decline? Okay. There's a decline in the growth. We have, I think what you're talking about is comparing brick and mortar casinos to online gaming, and there's been record profits in. I'm distracted by the donations. Thank you. I'll get to those in just a second. In the middle, there's been record profits on gaming revenue from casinos. This last almost a year now? It's just been outrageous. My accountant, who you've met if you were on the last live stream of last year, I invited him in, and we talked for an hour and answered your questions. His brother just decided to quit working as an accountant at one of the Pennsylvania casinos because he just couldn't get enough help. It was just so busy, and they wouldn't hire, and it was just outrageous how much work they had to do. And so he eventually just I got to take care of myself, and he quit from that casino because it's just so incredibly busy. There is a lot of money coming in, and the casino is working harder and harder to not spend any of it. So I don't know what you are saying that the decline is going. The growth of the internet, it's been pretty constant. I'd be more concerned about the growth of the internet amongst older people using it, because 5 years ago, there was a time 5 years ago when I would ask somebody, do you have sitting next to me in the slot machine and say, do you have a smartphone? And they would say no. And I'd be like, okay, I was going to recommend maybe you check out my channel or listen to a podcast. But if you don't have, if you have a flip phone, none of that's possible. And these days they all do. I think because they wanted to see pictures of the grandchildren. It's not me. It was the need to see pictures of people's grandchildren. And you might also say that the online gaming increased because we were all stay at home, and I don't see that. Walking into a casino is a completely different experience than sitting down at your desktop or your laptop, and you're just. Yes, and so doing all, I just don't see the connection. But there's a lot of, if you could have some data, if you have, it's some observations that match these assumptions, that is something to be very careful about, because we just want to, make sure we are basing our assumptions off of something. Sorry, I just see a lot going on in your question. Good question, but still a little concerned. So let's see here about what's going on. I already thanked Marina, and I wanted to thank Russell. Thank you, Russell. By the way, if you want to, there we are. If you want to put your question to the top of the line, head of the line, be sure to get an answer immediately rather than waiting until I get to it. You can give me a donation and pay to be put at the front of the line. But I also want to say thank you to Princess Z. I'll get to your question next. Russell says, and thank you both so much for the donation. I'm quite serious about it. My savings is running out, and I'm like, can I sell my car? I talked to my accountant about doing that maybe next month, and being able to get another 5-6 months. I don't know if you know this, but YouTube is kind of taking a hit. The Google, owned by Google, it's looking at its financial reports is really, really down, and a lot of people who are how this works. My accountant has told me. I told him what was happening to me, and I wondered if it was just me or not. But he says that because of the inflation, people are first thing they cut is advertising, and so a lot of the advertising isn't. People aren't paying for it. So my amount coming in from AdSense on YouTube is down, but people are still buying my course, which helps. And there's so many people out there with YouTube channels that don't have anything about YouTube, and they're really seeing a hit. We could talk about sometime. I talk with my Slots Enthusiast Growth Network about these things, because that's sort of behind the scenes. Okay, question from Russell. 5-cent denomination consistently has some of the better odds in my state. There are, however, very few true nickel machines. Could this be a 5-cent selection on multi-denomination machines? It depends on your state. Louisiana it doesn't have an entry in the return statistics for multi-denomination machines. But if you play one of those machines, the result of your playing is the lowest denomination is put into the line item for the lowest denomination on that machine. So if it's a 1 cent, 2 cent, 5 cent, 10 cent, then that entry is the entry for 1 cent is where that data is placed. But if you go to is it Michigan? No, Mississippi, for its return statistics, it would put it into whatever of that multi-denomination, whatever you chose. So if it was a 2 cent, then it would go to the 2 cent, even though it had a 1 cent and a 5 cent. But then if you go to Nevada, which I think I just had up on the screen, right? Still up on the screen? Yes. I'll just show you and, take all the mystery out of it. Boom, boom, boom. There it is. And that's it. And so multi-denominational right there. So right over here under slot machine denomination for this month, the bottom entry is there. By the way, when you look up here at number of units, number of locations is the number of casinos, but the number of units means that now used to be even, but now multi-denomination machines are 61,000 for the state of Nevada. You can check downtown specifically and the Strip specifically, but there are now more multi-denomination machines than there are penny machines. And it was only, a year ago, less, that it was actually even number. And I was shocked then that they had so many multi-denomination machines. So 1 cent machines are going away and being replaced with multi-denomination machines, 1 cent, 2 cent, 5 cent, 10 cent, that sort of thing. And so this is something to be aware of, because this entry is not that entry. And this multi-denomination can also be $25, $50, $100 multi-denominational machines. It doesn't say what the denomination is. Yeah. Okay. That's pretty succinct. So I'll stop sharing that. And so, if you want to send me an email, and I can tell you a little bit more, just go to I haven't quite made it all the way through the 20 states that have return statistics. I'm actually doing a report on each, and I'm trying to do one a week, and I hope to have Florida out because I need to update that from like a year and a half ago, and I'm just working through them alphabetically. So whatever state you're in would be good to know, so I can give you more specific answers. Okay. Princess Z. Hey, Z, I won 10K last week. I used your strategy. I left the machine ASAP. Wow. All right. 1, 2, 3. Excellent. You did all the things that you needed to do, and I congratulate you the most on getting out. We've talked about how loss limits are something we've had to deal with from the first day we started gambling. Oh, I didn't mean to spend that much, and how do you not spend that much, and what problems are associated with it? That's from day one. But winning only happens once you win. And a lot more people are winning because of my strategies. And so they're like, oh no, I have to learn how to get out. And you have. Congratulations. I had a consultation where someone was talking about, was telling me just how bad they are at not getting out. And they wanted to start a business and make a living off of playing slots. And I said, none of that is going to work until you get out of the casino with your money. I would recommend going to the casino 6 times, maybe the first time, having your normal bankroll of $500 or whatever in your pocket, and then just go do the work, go do the observations that I talk about doing, but don't spend anything and leave, and see if you can even do that, because maybe you can't. And I got a follow-up report that they want to hand pay playing. Which I don't think was the plan, but nevertheless, they did leave with that. So, forgive yourself for partial successes. And so, I don't care what your plan is. I care that you have a plan, and you did well. Congratulations. Thank you for telling us. Okay, so where was I? Don't want to miss any questions. Back up to. And Paula is our moderator. Thank you, Paula, for all your hard work. It is very much appreciated this. And I think that there's a question later about being a okay. Mad Dog is being asked to put a question mark in front of it, and so that caught my eye. Mad Dog says, is your 5-pull a machine rule, but they have multiple games on one machine in Illinois bar slots the same? I don't know. Okay, so how do I put this? Illinois has riverboat casinos, 15 of them, I think. They have a maximum number of slot machines in them it's a gaming regulation. Is it to 2,500? And so if you were to count all of the machines in all of the thousands of bars and taverns where they only have 5 or 10, you can actually get the number from the state lottery, and you can determine that there are more casinos that aren't riverboat casinos. All the bars and taverns equal, if you divide that number by 2,500, and there's like 30 casinos the size of the riverboat casinos. But if you look at it that way, but if you look at it from the point of view of it's all one casino, there's one casino in Illinois that's 32 times any of the individual riverboat casinos. So that's all run by one casino. And so so the question is your 5-pull method a machine rule? Try it. It takes very little to make minimum bets and determine if it's, that's why I provide a test to see whether or not they have it. But understand the system. You don't have to check bar after bar because all the bars are owned by one company, the state lottery. And so if you find one bar that has the 5-spin method, all the other bars have the 5-spin method. And I think you saw the returns on Illinois. I'll have a report on that next weekend, I believe. And hey, Kitty, little head rubbing before she bites me, before she nibbles on me hard. So given all that background, is your 5-pull a machine rule, but they have multiple games on one machine in Illinois the same. So when there's a 5-spin method, it's everywhere. If you find it in a casino, then it's on every machine, high limit, low limit, whatever. It's a operating system approach. I don't know if the Illinois State Lottery has it. It's a simple test to find out. Let me know. Then I'll know. And so, yeah, it would be on any of those games if you found it, if you tested it and confirmed that they have the 5-spin method. And yeah, straightforward answer. Thomas, Ohio offers return statistics. Unfortunately, they're 4 months late. There's the month is barely over before Nevada makes them available, but Ohio is like 4 months, 5 months later, and so everybody's different. But happy to have them. Question. Well, for Thomas, professorslots.com/OH. Go read it about Ohio slots and the return statistics. Okay. Hashtag question from Linda. In high limit, is it less possible to win on 5-spin method or more possible to win with more spins? So if the casino has it, the casino has it. In high limit, low limit, all of that. But that's tastes. And part of what you're getting to is the second part of the test that I offer for the 5-spin method. Do I make any money with the 5-spin method? Because you can have a positive test result of taste. Yes, the casino has taste, but then you didn't make money. It's a 2-step process. Do they have it? And if they do, did you make money? Because when they have it, they have it. It could be 6 months, a year, new owners before anything like that changed. I've seen new owner casinos. I was at Belterra Park. They have the 5-spin method, but that's where I discovered it when it was owned by Pinnacle before it was bought by, not bought, but before the new owner got a new operator, Boyd Gaming. So it's still there. So even if there's a new operator and it was sold, they still might have it. That hasn't changed. However, it has done a sharp dive on how much the return that you get for the 5-spin method. And what we've learned is that if it's a time when the casino is giving out money on their schedule, because that's what their schedule is, then you get a better return. So you might come back at a more opportune time when it actually, is a better time to play, and you get a positive return rather than a loss. And so that part has to be figured out. What you can do is, even though you know that your casino has the 5-spin method, you can actually go in and make minimum bets on 20 machines and see how it's going. See if the schedule, I mean, it's not like you have to go talk to somebody or anything. You can go and do the 5-spin method. Maybe you spend $40, $50 on those machines and say, this is a great time, I'm going to go at high limits. Or this is a terrible time, I'm going to try again later to see if there's a better time when it's a moneymaker. Okay? This is advanced stuff. This is not just learning one strategy, but it's what you do after you learn multiple strategies and then you start combining them. Okay? 2-step process. Mad Dog is almost there. He actually started the hashtag, and caught my eye. Is your 5 pull a? Okay, so that's already been asked, and then asked again. Thank you, Paula, for keeping him on track. It's so hard to see comments directed at one another. Hashtag and question in all caps. Thank you, Susan. I know that I did not use anything like that for 2.5 years, but guess what? We're popular now, popular. And so there's just so many more comments instead of, crickets that I got 2.5 years ago. And I think I started in November 2019. And now there's a lot more people, and I need to see when you're talking to one another versus when you're asking me a question. Susan, online gaming. Do you have any stats or opinions on what the return rate is there? In other words, are they regulated by the state like the brick and mortar casinos are? Usually no, sometimes yes. If you go to, it depends on the rules. You go check the rules. Like for instance, Nevada has been, is a state that had online gaming for some time. They met a deadline to have everything approved, as did New Jersey, as did, I think, Delaware, was it? No, it was New Hampshire. And then I think one of the states, Pennsylvania, failed to get the paperwork done in time. So check the rules. If they and often there are no rules. There's a term. The Wild West. It's a Wild West out there with online gaming, and it's just fraught with difficulty. I thought I might get into online gaming eventually when it kind of settled down, because now it's just like I have to interrupt an update with an update. It's just like just too much stuff going on. Once it gets settles down, because you're right, this is the thing to study. This is the thing to look at. What's the return historically? One of the interesting things, and I don't want to give away a future podcast episode where I talk to someone who's an online gambler. I'm not sure if that's this week or next weekend. I'm still making a decision about it. He talks about how you can find out you could be given a spreadsheet template, a spreadsheet analysis line by line, what your bet was and information about that bet, including what you won, if anything. Bet by bet. We can't do that at brick and mortar casinos, because I know some people record their play, but it's just like it takes as long to review the video as it does to actually play in the casino, and there's not enough time in the day. So they turn that online experience, some vendors, into a spreadsheet of which you can make a graph and see what your return rate is for your gameplay, not of that company, not of that state, but you. How good are you at slots? And which we can't get anywhere else. So there's some advantages to that. But again, see what the state law. It's all very open. This is if they don't have return statistics, they don't have return statistics. But if they, what are the rules for gambling? Because a lot of these places are just like, here today, gone tomorrow. So you really have to evaluate. That's the hard part about online gaming is, what's a company that's not out to get you, just straight up illegal. Let's see. Hashtag question: when you bet lower, high, better odds. There is a myth out there that high denomination has better odds. That's actually not true. There is, you could look at the data. And if you go to, the lowest odds are penny, but that's just out, the best odds are 5 cents. And so in downtown Nevada, right there, it shows that's not working, that it's not high to low. But what people misunderstand about that question and what casinos are deliberately putting on slot machines is if you make a bigger bet, you'll win more. And they say it that way because that's obscure. That's not clear. You're making an assumption when you read it that you think, oh, so when I bet bigger denominations, I have better odds of winning. Oh, no, that's not true. So let's say, for my example, from Hollywood Lawrenceburg, I went in, found a winning slot machine next to the cafe. It's all in the report that you can find out at my website, all for free, including a video I think I did in the parking lot, or just off because there's rules. And if I found that machine, played for an hour, minimum bets, and slowly my bankroll climbed. Went from $100 to $200 to $300, and I'm like, good. I played it for an hour. That's fine, but I'm here to give a report, so I'm not here to make money. I'm here to give you a report. So I went back to, thank you, Paula. I went back. I changed it from a 90-cent minimum bet to a $4.50 maximum bet. I increased the bet by 5x. Now, I didn't change the denomination, which is not quite your question, but bigger bets versus lower bets. And I made a 5x increase in my bet from minimum to maximum. And I got when I was doing minimum bets for an hour, I got many, 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 many wins to slowly climb my bankroll. And when I saw that, I knew I got, let's say I made a 90-cent bet and I won $20 again and again and again and again. And my bankroll climbed. How much did when I made a 5 times more bet at $4.50, did I make $100 often as a win? No, I did not. I made less than 2x, not 5x. 2x, less than that. I made $35 bet. I made $35 wins instead of $20 wins when I increased my bet by 5x. How common is this? Then my bankroll went from $300 to $200 to $100 on that maximum bet, because yes, it was still a winning machine. I was still winning, but my bankroll was decreasing over time. Okay. I think I answered that fairly straightforward. Yeah. Camilla, she says, I've long heard that table games were superior. It's the data. The data has always been there. One little caveat, the reason I mentioned your comment, one little caveat about what I've been saying is, and what the author of the book that I interviewed him for, he said, well, you're not anybody when you play a table game. There's skill. The return that they talk about in the reports is on average for everybody. But if you're good at a table game, then you're not that person. Well, why doesn't that apply to the returns for slots too? If you're good at playing slots, you can do better than the number. So yeah, let's just look at this again. Okay, so there is what this person was saying, and I tried to tell him as clearly as possible. This is, you 3-card poker is the worst at 33%. So 67% return to the player instead of nickels, which was better than 95%. It's just 30% is like a big difference. 2.5 is worthy of a backflip. And even if you can't do it, you're going to try. It's just that exciting. So if he's saying that you took a 33% win percent for the casino, and you can do better than that by raising it 30%, to make money at it. Let's say Ultimate Texas Hold'em. That's a better example. Let's say that you're really good at Texas Ultimate Hold'em, and you raise it 25% because that's just how good you are. Okay. Well, if you can do the same thing with slot machines and raise your results above the average 25%, we're talking 120%, 119%. Where for Texas Hold'em, we're talking about having like 4% over, 104% on that win instead of being average at 20 minus the 80% return. Yeah. And I'm just like, yeah, if you want to say the skill based people are like 25% higher in these numbers to make them over 100%, well, then why doesn't that apply to slot machines? Why doesn't that apply to you by using my methods? I hope that makes sense. Kind of went over it quickly. Let's see. I'll put that away. Question from Chris. When choosing volatility in a bonus, is it a crapshoot or is the middle of the road pick the best bet? So volatility is one of those cool words people are using and they don't know what it means. And it's not. There is. Someone has a question. I'll get to your question in a moment, Mad Dog, because I don't often do this. Again, I'm just terrible at marketing. When choosing volatility in a bonus, the bet is when you make a bet at the very beginning before half an hour long bonus rounds and all, 10-minute long bonus rounds, everything was decided when you made the bet. If there's some coin up and you're like trying to choose the best ones, that was all determined when you made the bet. All right. This is not video poker where the second round matters, where you choose what to keep and what to hold. That's a skill-based game. And so if you're talking about bingo games, yes, choices matter. But if you're talking about a class 3 Vegas style slot machine, choices don't matter. Making those choices is fun. It's part of the game, part of the experience. Everything was decided when you press the button to make a bet. Yeah, just along for the ride the rest of the time, even if it doesn't seem like it. And volatility is one of those magic words that people like to throw around, but it's just variance. I think it's interesting for other reasons, and I might do a video on it sometime to talk about it. So somebody has a question. I think there's a way for me to show you if I share my screen here, and I will do that. I will show the live. Whoops. Come on. There it is. I'll do Stream Health. Okay. So there is information here. Do you see? It's hard to see. Do you see this $sign at the bottom of the live chat? If you click on that, you get to choose between a super chat and a super sticker. Let's say super chat. Now, this has been set up. You can choose by typing in a number here. It changes the color. Or you can use a slider. See how it changes the color? No one gave me $500 even when they won like $20,000 because of my advice. It's usually a $20 bet. A gentleman who had and then buy and send, but you have to have a credit card set up. And if I don't want to click on that because I don't want to show you my credit card, but as long as you're set up with a credit card, then I will get a donation, and that's how you do that here. You can also go to professorslots.com/donate, and that's sends you directly to PayPal. You can also use the Cash app, and I am at is it at or hashtag at Professor Slots, all one word, and you can choose to donate that way. I have to remember to actually tell you guys that because nobody knows if you don't tell them. And I get so busy answering these questions that I'm just like, oh, that's right, I got a business. Maybe that's why I'm running out of savings. Right. So let me. So I wanted to answer that question. Yeah. So. That's why that had that up. Camilla didn't put a hashtag, but I thought it was an interesting comment. Yes, it's interesting. The people will insult you. Let me tell you a little something about insults. People will insult you with the worst thing they can think anybody would say to them. So if someone was saying to you that slots are for girls, then they're worried that if they play slots, they'll be thought of as a girl. So it sounds like they get some misogynistic issues. It's very insightful. I hate to even mention it. It's very insightful to listen to somebody's insult of you and go, I really don't want to get to know you that well. That what you're telling me is like really intimate knowledge. Please go see a psychiatrist and tell them, because I'm feeling a little dirty here. And it's just I've listened to people's insults, and I'm just like, you've got some mother issues. So I'm just like, please don't tell me your problems by insulting me. Virginia Casino player Doug. So I'll just call you Doug. Hashtag question. Based on the numbers you just showed, why do casinos have so many slot machines compared to table games? Because it's easier to have money. When you have a table game, you have what? The dealer, another dealer, the boxman, and some try to get rid of that. It's occupies space. And so, you need to have people at the table. And so all that costs money. So they make up for it by having to have a lower return just to, not put slot machines there. Yeah. I mean, slot machines, how many slot machines can you fit into the area of a table game with people standing around it, 2 people deep? Back to back, 15, and you make $518 in profit before paying employees and paying for the electrical bill per day on an average slot machine. And you can pay for it in just over a month by the profit you make from it, not paying, not taking up the costs of having that. But you make a lot of money from it, but you give back 90% ish. And that remaining 10% is enough to pay for the $20,000 for the machine in a month. I think it's actually like $18,000, just under $18,000 if you go by the $518 per day. So yeah, it's just an equation, and what you're talking about is that equation. It is a moneymaker for casinos. You can fill the casino with table games, and there won't be enough people to play them. So you only have as many table games as the market will bear. But if you made them all slot machines, those machines would be busy 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. At some casinos, it totally is. And that's more money. Yeah. Yeah, so it's just a matter of considering what's called the model and the income. And casinos don't have to figure this out. They can just check their receipts and they can see how much money they are making. Jeff is saying, have you noticed any correlation with lower payout percentages coinciding with the installation of newer machines and the removal of old machines? I found the opposite. I found that when they put in new machines, they're trying to excite player appeal and get people interested in, that being the machine to get on. But on the other hand, if it's like, when Game of Thrones first came out, people will play that popular game, or Walking Dead, back when it first came out. They would play that machine because it's never been played before, and they're willing to accept a loss just for the experience because they're a fan of the show. So new machines come in a couple different categories. One is yes to your answer, and two is no to your answer, no to your question. So look into it just a little bit deeper. As my quantum physics professor told me one time, you're almost there. You're almost there. Just think about it a little bit more. He had a Greek accent, and he had this big bushy beard, and he had a pipe that he used to smoke, and he was just rail thin and wearing old jeans, but theoretical physicist. It was just awesome stories. And one time, and when he told me that in the hallway, just a little bit more, you just think about it, just a little bit more. And he said, if you want to, and I can't do the Greek accent, American citizen and all that, but he said to me, if you want to, come to my office. Do not be afraid of my beard. It's a wonderful man, wonderful man. That was, like I said, I'm a physics fan. Mad Dog. Way to use the system. Thank you. If you have to go, that's great. That's okay. We'll talk later on Illinois bar slots. Finish watching later. Back to work. Sure. Get back to work. Thank you so much. You had a question some time ago. I will assume that you will leave, but yes, I think I did answer that. How to give a donation, and you did it. Excellent. This is me getting caught up. Let's see. Question. I see interesting questions, but I'm trying to do them in order unless you make a donation, in which case they go to the top of the line. Jeanette, how did someone make a $20 bet and win $20,000? Is that even possible? Sure. That happens in movies. Amazing. Sure. There's luck-based wins. Those still happen. Out of a clear blue sky, you can get struck by lightning. And this costs the casino $20,000 on a $20 bet. And it wasn't even, how do I put this? I played high limits. I played $5 denomination machines, $10 denomination machines for $2 credit or 3 credit bets. So I was spending making $15 bets or $20 bets on these $5 and $10 denomination machines. What was the amount of the maximum possible win on the machine? $150,000, $250,000. So $20,000 is not anywhere close, 1/10 of the maximum that you could win on a machine like that. And, would you even call it? I tried to explain to people, I got 90 taxable jackpots. I shouldn't say taxable, W-2 jackpots, hand pays, in 9 months. And I plotted it all. It's graphs in my book that don't get a lot of attention, but I'm just like, it's there. And you can look at that. I never won in that 9 months. I never won the top jackpot on a machine. I did in 2005 when I won 4,000 credits on a quarter machine. So I won $1,000. That would have been my first hand pay if I had ever gotten a hand pay. It was like the second time I was in a casino. And that was that was a top jackpot. And that's the only time I've won anything in that category. I won $27,000 on a $10 denomination machine. And I would call that someplace in the middle of the pay table. That was a medium-sized jackpot on a high-limit machine. Everything else, well, I would say anything over $10,000 would be in the medium range. Anything under $10,000 would be in a small jackpot on a high-limit machine. And I've won $10,000 multiple times on a single hit. And so I'm like, is that in the second category, in the first category? I don't know. It's the smallest amount you can make, I would think, in that I consider in the medium range. But $27,000 is spot on. So you just don't. I found that's my definition for a medium-sized jackpot. Okay, I got 3 of them. Once per 30 hand pays that were under $10,000. Every 30 hand pays, I got one that was in the mid-range and never in the top range. So what you're talking about isn't much. It's just a medium-sized jackpot. The rest of the time I was just winning, $5,000, $7,500, that sort of, $4,800, $1,200. That's all in the small, lower part of the pay table. So just understand, what the calibration is of what you're talking about. It's exciting, yes. Yeah, happened to me. $27,000, boom, and that was I think a $20 bet. Yeah, 2 credits on a $10 machine. Yeah, in the movies, I was thinking about having, if there ever is a movie, and this is just fantasy, Tom Cruise, or maybe a very young Ryan Reynolds, playing me in the show. Question: does it change anything about the odds by having your royalty card inserted or not? It does not. There are special circumstances. There was the gentleman that I may have mentioned who won tens of millions of dollars and but spent 1 million more than he won over a few months, 9 months last year. When I talked to him in October, I don't know what his yearly thing was. In my consultation, he was talking about taxes, and that's what he wanted to know. How do I get the records that I need for the IRS? Blah blah blah, and be sure to get all my I's dotted and all my T's crossed. And for them, maybe for the top gambler in the casino, a tribal casino in California, and where he's having dinner with the general manager once a week. Yeah, sure. But when casinos make the average Indiana medium-sized casino makes $1.8 billion a month, returns 90% of it, because return is 90% on average. So they are left with keeping $180 million. Now, I like to call that profit, but in the accounting terms, they still have to pay taxes on it, and they have to pay the utility bill. My goodness, how much electricity did they have to pay for? And they have to pay their employees. So their actual profit, according to their balance sheet, would be a lot less than that $180 million, but that's what they had to start with because they returned everything else. What does your betting have to do with, how does it compare to $180 million per month? Would it be $1 million if you were to bet $1 million a month? Would it be a blip on their radar? 0.5%? Would they even be concerned about it? And you're not betting $1 million. You're betting per month $1,000, maybe. It's just like really down there. There's nothing to be gained for them. Besides which, in order to change it somehow, they actually have to know what they need. See, there's illegal. Nobody cares. I've had entire live streams on this. It's illegal. Nobody cares. It's what's the other thing? The electronics are separate within the machine. Who cares? Nobody cares, right? Blah, blah, blah. I've heard that before. So I go a third way. I say, they don't know what they need to do. It takes 4 hours for them to know where they're at on the return. And they have marketing, they have performance metrics for their finances, and they have to hit a certain number, right? You ever been in, part of a business? They have to set these numbers, and they don't know for 4 hours because, my goodness, there's so much going on in the casino that it takes a little while for them to, it's not real-time analytics. It's 4 hours behind. So 4 hours after you're doing your thing by putting your card in the machine, they'll know what they need to do. And you're long gone. So that's the third explanation when nobody buys the first two, because it's just yawn. Yeah, I heard that before. But the third one is, they don't know if they should give you money or take money from you. You are not as important as their financial performance metrics to the investors. And by the way, nobody on the player's card, and whether it has an effect, says, "When I use a player's card, do I win more?" It's just not a question I get. Camilla says, "Are you planning to move to the Reno area?" Sparks. But I don't have the plan right now. There's last year I didn't try to grow my channel. It grew quite a lot, but I tried to have things people could buy that would help them, to be convenient, to help them do better. And I needed to have what's called a customer journey, and I set that up. So I didn't try to spend time making money. I tried to spend time setting up things people could buy. And this year, it turns out that YouTube is struggling with it, because Google is struggling. And so it's a very good thing that half my income comes not from AdSense. And I'm told that once I really establish my business, that my AdSense return from YouTube will be, typically it's just a fraction of what, all the products that you have available to help people, what that is. And some people have this crazy idea that, books, I'll make a lot of money. And did I tell you that Amazon takes 70% of my $20-ish book? And so, that's just a marketing tool. Yeah. So I will move to Reno because my daughter is not too far from there, or Sparks, when I can. And I thought it might be kind of like the planning stages now. A year ago, I was thinking now I might be planning for next year to move to Reno. Looks like everything's been extended for at least a year. And this is where I segue into not changing the subject and to say thank you for the donations. It's very much appreciated. Right. Mira Doctor. Hashtag question: how do you pick a method in slots for California casinos when no statistics are published? 60% of all states do not have return statistics. So, you're just in the boat with everybody else. You can learn from the states that do have return statistics and see if it's so prominent across all the different states that do offer that it must be true for you as well. It's what's called a reasonable assumption in engineering estimates. That's a process that works quite well. Every state has terrible penny returns that has returns for slot machine denominations. So you can use that in your state, even though your state doesn't have it. So, this is making the most of the hint of what's out there. And you have to kind of be good at this, like I am, or, to try to understand where you're getting all this information and why it matters. And if it is truly not, somebody's wild guess, but rather database decision-making. So, you're in the boat with 60% of the other states that don't have return statistics. And only 6 out of the 50, only 12% of the states have return statistics by slot machine denomination. And some of them aren't that good. Aren't that helpful. And use what you got. California casinos, basically work through my 10 methods one by one. I should make a checklist. Check, 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 check. At any one casino, up to 4 will work at that casino. Up to. And you may only find 3 machines with a location in your casino, because sometimes it's every end of row machine, but like at Soaring Eagle in Michigan, but other times it's like at Firekeepers in Southwest Michigan. There's maybe 5 in the casino that you can find. And so you have to see what they've got. I won on machines at, when it was Horseshoe Cincinnati, that were along the back wall that could be in the high limit room that could be seen out in the main casino floor, because they were high up and they could be seen over those machines. And anybody somebody would walk by the high limit room, turn their head and look in and see my win. The casino was delighted to have that person detour and drive themselves, stampede themselves into the high limit room and fall off that cliff. And so the casino could, get that buffalo pelt. To go back to an analogy I was making an hour and a half ago. Go through each one and check each. Some people don't understand. I'm trying. It's like I'm trying to make people scientists or make people technicians. I'm like, follow the procedure, don't deviate. And then if you want to deviate, like the 5-pull method is actually the 8-pull method or the 3-pull method, these are all things that you don't have no harm in checking and seeing if you get I'm teaching you to fish, not giving you fish, right? That's the old adage, right? And if you want to switch up your catching fish based on what I started by telling you, then go right ahead. It's your lake. I haven't been to your lake nearly as much as you've been to your lake, and make it better. And that's a very good thing to do, because time, changes happen over time. And so, work through my strategies at your casino, find out what one works. I need to help you with the attitude, as I've helped others. Find what works at your casino. What people do instead, because of all this stuff we're talking about the secrets of how to win, people say, I found out how I'm lucky, and therefore I will do that everywhere. And I'm like, no, you learned it at your casino. You need to check to see if it's true at this other casino you go to and not assume it's true. Okay? Like, I like Dragon Links, so I will go and play Dragon Links wherever I go, because at my casino, I win. Whoa, what? It's a fine place to start, but when you go to another casino, play Dragon Links, see if you win there too. And it's a small shift in thinking, but it's an important shift. Okay. See, answered that. Question from Albright, ROC. Question: could slots with your knowledge be a good cover play for winning craps blackjack players? No. Craps blackjack players who win are monitored from the surveillance cameras. Yeah, the rest of the casino is too, but that's why they have surveillance cameras, because of that, MIT team, doing card counting. And that was one of the ways to capture these people and kick them out of the casino at the very least. Early on, beat them up, but then, they wore disguises, and then it's a 20-year process of trying to catch them. And one of the things to do was to see if they split their tens, on the table, and go, aha, that person is a card counter because he's doing that consistently. So you can, the surveillance is going to get you. Then there's also the infinite shufflers, which is actually the tried and true method of shutting this down as much as possible, really shutting it down entirely with these the method of card counting by having infinite shufflers where there's no decks. It's just an infinite number of decks. They started by going from 2 decks, 1 deck to 2 decks to 15 decks to and that's what happened over 20 years to try to cut back on card counting and making it less successful of a project. And it was pretty bad. And then they came out with for card counters, and then they came out with that. So yes, you're talking about covering up your wins. I've had professional poker players, I didn't recognize them, sit down next to me, and they busted out of a World Series of Poker at Horseshoe Cincinnati at the time. And he was just like, well, I'm done. I was like, how are you doing? He's like, I'm done. I'm not very good. I'm out. And so he's sitting down playing a machine, 2 down from me in the high limit room. And he won $4,800. Only he was just like, why'd the machine stop working? Went from a professional poker player to not really getting slots, charitably saying. And he's just like, this is broken. And I'm like, well, you just won $4,800. And it's like, that's what I might have done in poker. I'm now ahead. I now recovered from what? And I'm just like, here comes the slot attendant. She'll take care of your needs. Question: how come you haven't done a live stream at a casino to show us how this is done firsthand? I can't wait to see. You have to be either in a like Las Vegas, where there are some very lax rules, if there's any rules at all, of recording this. My methods are to walk the casino, find the main intersection, look around the main intersection for the machines that are most predominant, have the greatest view. And in most casinos in the United States, even in casinos in Las Vegas, they don't want you walking through the casino. Have you heard of privacy issues where I'd have to blur the faces of anybody walking by me unless I got a signed release from them? And, don't show the security cameras. Otherwise, security of the casino will be like, you've just cased the joint, whether you realized it or not. And then places in Ohio, some people record their play occasionally at one of the casinos that's a half an hour away from me. And I'm looking into trying to get with the marketing department. It's hard to meet them to set up them approving me for that. But again, I can hold it on the slot machine and remove the audio because YouTube will flag it as license required audio from the music being played from the overhead speakers. So I can do this if I am allowed to do this, and I know how to do all of that and be careful, but it doesn't help you. It would be my coming into the casino and saying, well, I did all the hard work and now I found a winning machine. Watch me play. What was the hard work? Can you back up? Can you show us walking through no, you can't show us walking through the casino. Can you, what? And I can't even take a picture on the kiosk of the floor layout and point out which slot machines are the ones that I mentioned, because see how, you look for any that has this wide angle of view of the cafe. And that's copyright protected. So yes, there are some there's at least one educational slots channel that has said, see, here I am in the casino, I'm walking through it, and people walking by and kind of staring, and like, there's no signed release for that. That's not a long-term business plan. As much as I enjoyed that video and learned from it, YouTube, 1 strike, 2 strike, 3 strikes, you're out. Lifetime ban. That's no way to have a business. Wish I could. but I'm trying to find a way to say, well, this is how, what I found at this casino. That's not everything you'd want. But then if you went to that casino, you would play that machine, right? Now I just say what it is, don't show a picture and my reports. And, if I can record it, I will. The other problem is I go to new to me casinos all the time, and it's the first time I've been there. And I've heard of some people talking about getting a contract with the marketing department. It takes 3 years. Yeah. So I'll see what's possible. Question: does a slot machine behave the same whether you are using slot casino free play versus voucher cash? I've heard some people say that it matters. It never has with me. I had it's a longer story, but I don't want to tell it. I won't tell you the longer story. It's pretty amusing. It's in the book. I had a chance to win $2,000. And there was a chance that it would be $2,000 in free play and a chance that it would be $2,000 cash. And I won $2,000 in free play in the drawing. And so I went and I played it in the high limit room. It took half an hour for it to show up on my card, and played that. And I won $1,980, a little bit less than $2,000, but none of it was a hand pay. So yes, it's all taxable because everything is, but there was no W-2 generated. And I was fine with that. Now, so there's times, when it doesn't matter. If you think that your casino is, shortchanging you on free play, if you're doing good observations, and I think that matters, but I have not found that matters at casinos where I had free play yet to happen to me. But I'm not saying it doesn't happen to you, but it should be fairly obvious. Now I've played $20 in free slot play on low limit machines and gone, wow, that really went fast with no wins. But then it would for $20 cash too, unless I was on a winning machine. So you have to test these things carefully. Sure does seem like, $20 goes fast though, doesn't it? What else? Oh yeah. When I won the car, I didn't take the car. I took the cash option, but there was actually a third choice. Take the car, take the cash option, or get it all in free play. $40,000 in free play. And I was like, that does not, I've checked out this casino. I know that won't help me. I know that free play expires minimum, could be like 2 weeks, maximum. I had never seen free play last more than a month. You go get it, you put it on your card, and it's gone a month later if you don't use it. And I was just like, the winning strategy at this casino is not, free play. And so I took the cash. Yeah. Hey, Adrian, Mad Dog. So there's a good question from me for, okay. Hopefully I answered everybody. Let's keep going. I don't see a hashtag. There it is. Good. I got to get everybody used to hashtag question. Is the casino able to wirelessly change payout percentages on server-based machines? A couple of misunderstandings there. Server-based machines, you're referring to something that died a quick death, which was the game is on the server instead of the odds are controlled by the server. It's two different server systems. And the one where the game was on the server for 10,000 machines was just, it died a horrible death, quick death, thankfully, because that's one machine running all the machines in the casino. one server running all machines in the casino, not returns, but the actual game, where the game was not on the machine, but it was on the server. And that's a completely different system. It died. And thankfully a long time ago, you have one mistake on that machine and it affects the entire casino, and casinos were like, what? Once it was explained to them, having one machine go down bad, you can put a piece of paper on it and, under repair and out of order and come back later. But it was just so risky for, income that many people were depending on for their business and for their lives to do that. So that's one thing. The other thing is wireless changes in your statement. That's a security problem. If you want to see what the wireless I was talking to Chuck, who's away right now, but he's going to be watching later. He's into this sort of thing. If you check on your phone for the wireless networks, you will see the wireless networks. The only time you wouldn't, because of FCC rules, would be if you were a military installation where there might be some sort of stealth system which you could not detect. But the FCC says you might not. You wouldn't be able to log into it. It would be encrypted all to heck, but you would be able to see the name. You would be able to see the name on your Wi-Fi list of networks. So go look, see if there's anything like that. Yes, they'll have wireless networks for the slot attendants to be able to communicate and other things, but it's because it's open, because it's that kind of open where people can see it, that means they can hack it or they can attempt to hack it. And it's just too risky. So when they control the odds of games on slot machines from a distance remotely from a central server where it only does that, it needs to be wired. Can't cut into a wire and you can't get access to the wire. But when you have access to or even just know it exists on a wireless network, that's just way too risky. Yeah. So they don't do it. Interesting question. What an excellent question. Online casinos, stay away or worth a look. There is one winning advantage. There's a subtlety where it talks about bonus rounds, and it's like the tastes only use bonus rounds. I put that out there for online casinos, but watch professorslots.com/ABC27. It's an evening news report where I was interviewed. I was interviewed for like an hour and they used like 30 seconds with me, if that. But they are looking at Penn National, their local casino in Harrisburg, where there are no others. And the last few seconds of the anchors talking to one another, I should play it here sometime, but if you listen to that, and it talks about competition, but the whole thing is about the returns. And the first month had the best returns because they were trying to, how this works is, and Horseshoe Cincinnati was the same way. Before it was installed, before the casino was built, it was a cornfield. And the people around, in the 50-mile radius around where it was going to be built, they didn't have a place to play slots before. They were like, what's slots? You had to build a reputation. You had to get a good outcome. You promised your investors when you would do that. So they made a commitment from the investors that investors would not be paid until the third year or the third month. Some places they'll do this for 1 month, and some places like Horseshoe Cincinnati, they did it for the first 2 years. And it wasn't until the third year investors got paid, because you need to build up a feeling in the people who live within an hour's drive that I'm a winner. I've gone again and again. I'm a winner. And Horseshoe Cincinnati did that for the first year. It was pretty good for the second year. And in the third year, all my friends went into bankruptcy because they thought they were lucky. And they weren't. The casino was letting them win. So if you watch that report, you will see the same thing happen with Penn National for the first month, and it's never been that high again for what was that 20 years, 25 years, something like that. So what my point here is, if online gaming is in your gaming jurisdiction and it just arrived, they are trying to establish themselves by getting people hooked on online gaming by allowing them to win. So my second best advice about online slots is, if it's new, play. My best advice, better than that, is when it's over, it's over. Don't fall victim. I mean, this is right on topic with today's topic. Don't fall victim to them trying to hook you in, because, like my friends that went into bankruptcy, they were like, but I'm, it's not them, it's me. I was always lucky that whole time. They told me so. It's a really structured way for the casinos to make money. Yeah. Thank you, Paula, for putting in the link. If you click on the link, you'll be taken out of the live chat. So be very careful about right-clicking and choosing opening it in a second window. Super Squirrel. Do the Seminole Tribal Indian casinos in Florida have the tightest slot machines compared to other states? No way to know. And thank you for asking this question with a hashtag question. So I have been to Seminole, Brighton, south, 3 hours, 2.5 hours south of Orlando. I have a report on it. You'll see a picture of me and my father and his wife, who passed away not too long ago. And I showed them how to win. And the 5 myth at the time, and they don't get rid of it, particularly not with a new owner, particularly not when they don't have a new owner, and tribes don't do that. 5-spin worked there just great. And maybe because it's a Seminole tribe, the Seminole tribe might have that at all their casinos. But location is usually popular at all these places, and so you just have to find the right time of day when the odds are good, and that's how you win. People say this about Seminole, like Seminole, Florida, Seminole Hard Rock Tampa. It's a Seminole, and people say it's just so tight. I'm sorry, it's tight if you do it wrong. People win. Lots of people win. And are you talking to other fans who knows as much about my methods as you do or more? Who's saying it's tight? I'm not saying it's not. I'm saying reputation is not the same as data, and we don't have data. And there is, I have people go to Hard Rock Tampa and they love going, and they say that I win. Hard Rock Tampa is got location on steroids. Play end of row machines, play highly visible machines, and you'll win on good days. Was there some other question? Yeah. Right. Need a hashtag question. Yes, they have a plan. Do you? Because they do. And it's basically like hunting for buffalo. You're the buffalo. Just put obstacles and challenges in your way so that you're directed towards the edge of the cliff and not the bottom of the cliff, the top of the cliff. Yeah. I went special. My father, and who sometimes watches, but he's not logged into YouTube. What's that? And if I go to let's see, I think I can even show you a picture of that. Let's see, Seminole Brighton, I think it is. Maybe I can do that. I don't want to take too much time from not answering questions. Yep, Seminole Brighton Casino. And this is the link. So Seminole Brighton Casino. And sure, I will drop the link into the live stream. Don't click on it unless you do the right click thing, because otherwise you'll be kicked out because you'll go elsewhere. And this is my article on it. Seminole Brighton, right? And out in the middle of nowhere, as you expressed, there's the casino. And that's a close-up. Didn't take pictures inside of it. That's my father. Hey, Dad. That's Barb. That's one of my first branded T-shirts. Not exactly high quality, because I pretty much sweated through it. And then Dave and Lois, who are sometimes on the live chat as well. And this is their hand page. If you actually look at this without going through YouTube, and is there a way for me to kind of like show you this a little better? Yeah. Each one's dated. It's from the same day. Each one is a few minutes apart. So 5 spin method worked for Dave and Lois, my father's friends. All right. Let's see. Yeah, I can't go to every casino, so I created 56 Facebook groups and one more for everybody. 56 Facebook groups, state by state. So if you go to professorslots.com/FB, you'll find the full list and join your state, because when you join your state, you'll talk to local slots enthusiasts who might have been to your casino last night, might be there on a Saturday at 2:00 in the afternoon or right now. and that, but for me to go to a casino, there's 1,000 in the United States. And if I go to two casinos a week, that would be 10 years. That would take me to go through all of them. And so that ain't happening. Or if it is, it's going to be a while before I get to yours. And so, yes, all questions, please ask #question before that question. And that way I can spot it instead of like conversations between people. I don't think I skipped a one. I don't think I skipped any. I might have missed jackpot here. Sometimes. There's a couple here that apparently I somehow skipped. I look away and it kind of like drops to the end. Okay, there's a couple questions here. Good. Should you set rules about when to move around or leave prior to arriving? Sure. I mean, I set rules all the time, and then I made them better when I realized that they weren't better. When I win this much, I leave. And then I didn't have anything for how much I would lose before I left. And so how much, what are okay, so you have a loss limit. We talked about this in a prior live stream, not a couple of weeks ago. What is your loss limit? How much do you need to lose before you leave? Okay. How much do you need to keep of your winnings if you win less than $5,000? If you win less than $5,000, anything less than $5,000, even $500, how much of it do you keep? Put in your pocket, take away. What do you do? What's your plan? Know it before you even go to the casino. If you win $5,000, what's the plan? And before that, what's your loss limit? How much do you need to lose before you leave? Also, because it's such a shocking thing, as some of you may know, winning over $5,000, what's the plan? And I don't try to tell people what their plan is, but pretty darn sure get out is the plan, because nobody's in their right mind when they never win that much and then they do. I had to write my signature when I won $40,000 because I just won a car. And I don't know who that person was, but I think they're having a stroke. Adrenaline, really. And I did not recognize even close to what my signature was. And I'm a doctor, so not a medical doctor. Yeah. There's people talking about how to record, and I'm like, yeah, I know. Question: do casinos like when their patrons upload pictures of their wins on social media? Actually, it's a rule for social media that there's been some talk about how they're not responsible for people uploading to them copyright violations. And that was one of the restrictions that was considered being removed so that social media could be sued and sued and sued and sued and sued and sued by everybody. But right now they can't be because there's a law that says they can't be. Right. Yeah. Yeah, so I did miss a few of them here, and I went back to the Seminole Brighton, and yep, did that. And there was another one here. Do you immediately know when a machine is on the take while playing? I like to make 5 bets. If I don't win anything okay. Irregardless of my combined strategy approach that I often use because that's what I do, let's just say I know nothing. I walk into a casino. I don't know these advanced techniques or anything like that. And I walk up to a slot machine and I want to know, is it a winner? And I say, make 10 bets. If you don't win anything at all, I call this, I need to write an article where I call it the tough love strategy. If you don't win anything in 10 bets, anything at all, leave. This is the tough love strategy. If you do win something, anything at all, make another 10 bets to get to 20 bets. If you don't win anything, tough love, you're out. If you do win something, you have to ask yourself, was it enough? In that first 20 bets, did you win enough to make you go, I should stay? I was with Chuck, who's not here because he's having a belated Mother's Day and said so at the beginning and gave a donation, with him at a riverboat casino. And we did that. And in the first 20 bets, we won 2 bonus rounds. We were making money, for one thing, 2 bonus rounds. And I said, this is not about me. This is about you. What do you think? Is it worth staying? And he said, no. And I'm like, really? And he said, yeah. I said, what would it take? 3 bonus rounds. I'm like, oh, 2 worked for me, but your decision. And we moved on. Now, please use my other strategies to find candidate machines instead of just randomly picking slot machines, but make 20 bets. Make 10 bets. You win anything at all, stay. Make 20 bets total, another 10 bets, and see how it went. And if you think that was good, then stay until another 30 bets. So you have a total of 50 bets. And then if you didn't win, enough to meet your standards, leave. But if you continue, you're saying, this is a good machine. And so go another 50 bets. So 10, 20, 10, plus another 10 to make it 20, plus another 30 to make it 50, and then another 50 to make it 100 bets. But only if it's worth staying after 10 bets, 20 bets, 50 bets. And then go to 100 and then just say, I am going to stay here until I start losing. And I need to write an article about this, about the 10, 10, 30 and just find a way to say it a little better. So did I do that one? Jerry says, my local casino had the 5-spin method active for the last couple of years. Beginning this year, it has suddenly stopped. Check that. Check to see if they still have taste, but they're not worth anything. Because getting rid of the 5-spin method, and it might even tell you if it's been bought by a casino, bought by another owner. This is hard information to get because they usually don't change the signs for like 6 months. But you can see it on the W2G because they tell the IRS. Anyway, they could have just dialed it down because that's easy. Removing it is hard, expensive, but dialing it down is easy. They can do that this day, that day, this hour, that hour. So check to be sure that the tastes are gone. It's extremely difficult for them to get rid of it, but they can turn it down. And if they can turn it down, they can turn it up. So you check to see when it's a better time to use the 5-spin method. Okay. Do you think they found out more people were spoiled? Absolutely. I mean, they don't need to find out. They have a record and they're like, what do we do? What do we do? At Belterra Park, where I first learned this, the wins were over 10,000 on the high limit room. 10,000, 10, 17, 14, 1,000, just going down the row, for the person I watched. And I'm like, what? I don't really. And it took me a while to kind of get onto it but months to go, what the heck? And they have this and it takes me a little while to process. And so afterwards, a few months, by that time, it was under $10,000 wins. And I was like, good enough. $5,000, $7,500. And I was winning these. And then a year and a half went by from when they reopened after the serious remodeling that they had done, before I went in and I was winning $500. And I was like, all upset. Oh, gee, used to be where I could win a fair amount of money and it was really kind of like worthwhile. And then I had an attitude check. I was like, John, it pays for your gas for like 2 months. It's a car payment if you want to go that way. I'm just, get over yourself. Get over, used to be $10,000 and I could buy a car, instead of like, $500 is fine. And nowadays, even now, I checked last weekend as I wrote about it and made a video too on YouTube. They still have the 5-pull method and it's better than some places. It's still pretty good. Yeah. Just about broke even. Okay, that's it. What a great live stream. Sorry if I didn't get to your question. I tried to get to as many as I possibly could. My voice is at the point where it's kind of shaky and I have more meetings. So what a great live stream. I'll see you in my next live stream at 7 p.m. Eastern time. In the meantime, watch this video to use my location strategy to win at your casino. Thanks, everybody. Bye.